Welcome to Week 1, Unit 1. My name is Rainer Zino, in charge of Product Management for Business by Design. And let me give you a short introduction on what Business by Design is actually all about. If we go to the first slide, then you will see here a short graphical representation of what it is. And you will hear this term more often than once. By Design is first and foremost a suite in the box. That is also the reason why you see here the key components like human resource management, financials, supplier management, project management, supply chain management, and customer relationship management. So these are the core building blocks of our suite in the box, Business by Design. In green at the bottom, you see the topic of solution extensions. Solution extensions are absolutely key because most companies differ. They differ in regards to applications that need to be interfaced. They differ in regards to extensions that need to be built to meet their specific business requirements. And despite the fact that By Design is a public cloud solution, each and every customer can have their own integrations, their own extension fields, additional business objects, and own logic. So you're not limited at all in the way how you want to run your business on Business by Design. So the important thing, it's a suite in the box, but it is open for integration and open for extensions. And that is also what you will see throughout this course more than once. Business by Design is in the market since 2007, and I'm in the very pleasant situation that I have the opportunity from time to time to meet with customers who are using the system now for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Some customers even now for 10 years this year. And I use these discussions with these customers to ask them, well, now that you're so long using the system, what has it given you? What is the true tangible benefit that you got out of it? And the first thing that the customers say is they mostly say, we didn't know exactly what you were talking about when you first said suite in the box, but the ability to grow our business processes, and many of them just started with financials or just started with CRM, and then over time grew into all the different areas without having the need to reinvent the wheel, to deploy additional solutions, to retrain all of the users. This is the value of the suite in the box approach. The second thing that the customers tell me, and I find this very interesting, they say the system actually made us smarter. And obviously, you would also ask the question, well, give me an example of what does smarter mean? And I recently met the CFO of one of our large customers in the United States and Latin America. They are a wholesaler for air conditioning equipment, and he said, you wouldn't believe how many people come into my office and say, hey, we should invest more into this customer, into this product, or into this region. And in the past, he said, he mostly thought by himself, well, I hope that these people know what they're asking for. He says, since I have Business by Design, I bring up the profitability reporting by product, by customer, by region, and I see whether it's actually a good idea, whether I can back up that strategy by facts. And that makes me a lot smarter, makes me make the right decisions. So this topic of the insightful solution through the built-in analytics is a key capability and a key value. The third thing is that these customers mostly say, you know what? By Design simply helped us to grow. When I meet with my friends from Skull Candy, they tell me, look, we are now for so many years on Business by Design, and we are still on Business by Design. We bought Business by Design when we were a tiny company. We used Business by Design during the IPO. Now we are a huge company. Skull Candy is selling so many headphones, it's unbelievable, and all other outdoor sports equipment that people want to have who want to hear the music. So that really helped them to be a growth platform. And they also meet with other customers who have switched their ERP platforms a few times, and they are still on the same one. So you can grow with Business by Design. Last but not least, many of my customers say the best news is that you, SAP, now meet my obligations regarding innovation. You have the bandwidth, you have the people to look into machine learning. You can look into the Internet of Things scenario. You can look into big data scenarios for me and integrate that all in Business by Design, and that is our value proposition, or a big part of the value proposition to the customers. Whatever happens in the technology, architecture, business environment, we will monitor it and we will integrate these capabilities in Business by Design. I've already touched a little bit on the first slide on this topic of extensibility. When we sat together around 2004 and thought about what shall by design be all about, we said it must be open, it must be extensible, it must be easy to deploy, and first and foremost, we wanted to empower the customer to do most of the adaptations on their own. Especially in the mid-market, business processes are never static. They are changing fast. It's not exactly every day, but pretty often companies say, hey, I can be a bit better. And then they need the ability to adjust the user interface, introduce additional analytical reports. And therefore, we drew this fan, which you can see here. In the past, 10 years ago, for everything you needed a consultant. In Business by Design, everything right up to the blue area, everything can be done by a key user. So whether it is business configuration, where you select the business processes which are key to you, everybody can personalize the screens the way they want to have it. You can add fields to the user interface. You can reshuffle the tiles to meet the specific requirements. You can say, sorry, this tile for me isn't relevant. Therefore, map it out. You don't need to have it. And very important, you can build own documentation into the system. You can adjust the forms that you are using. Maybe the management changes. You want to apply some changes there. You want to make it simply prettier. Super important, you can build custom analytics. I've given up decades ago to ever believe that a customer will look at a report that I provide and say, hey, Rainer, you got it right. Thanks a lot. I won't change anything. The typical reaction is you discuss a report with a customer. The customer says, yes, very nice, but. And we are prepared for the but. So you can easily take an existing report, add capabilities to it, add characteristics to it, rework it so that it meets your specific needs. You can add extension fields to the system. The by design data model is super rich. Nevertheless, many customers need specific additional fields which are not in the standard, but that's not a problem because you can extend them. And then you can use the SAP Cloud Application Studio. That is more for something for the people with a programming background, where you can now build extensions. You can build additional business objects, additional logic, additional user interface. You can expose your new capabilities via web services. So that is the richness of the extensibility platform. And obviously, you can integrate by design, because in 99% of all cases, by design is not a standalone greenfield project. You have integrations into your banks. You have integrations maybe into your tax advisors. You have integrations into your payroll providers. You have integrations, and you will hear more about that, to your third-party logistics provider. So that is why this fan is so important. Equally important to my customers is the value proposition of the global reach of Business by Design. What does that mean? For most companies, you could say, well, if you just serve the 6 largest countries worldwide, you can reach 75% of the world gross domestic product. But think of a company in the United States. They will most likely have a subsidiary also in Canada and maybe in Mexico or in other parts of Latin America or in Europe. So to just deliver a solution for North America would just not be good enough. Therefore, what SAP does is we deliver 19 country versions out of the box with Business by Design. In addition, we offer a number of countries as so-called pre-configured content. Pre-configured means, yes, you still need to do some adaptations to these country versions, which you see here at the bottom, like Algeria, Egypt, or Morocco, but it's easy, it's straightforward to activate these versions and go live also in these countries. In addition, we offer tax basic content for about 90 plus countries. Tax basic means we have some basic settings in the system for taxation codes, VAT, withholding tax, and so on and so on. All of this is available to you and your partners via dedicated toolkits. So you can also build out country versions, which SAP does not support. That is also the reason why, and I checked it this morning, Bydesign today is used in 123 countries. So it has a global reach, and you can extend it as you go. If we now look at supply chain management, then I have here a simple visualization, and you will hear a lot more about this in the next couple of weeks. So the first part is the internal supply chain. So that's the way how you organize the flow of goods within your company. Basically, from the goods that you bring into your organization, put into the warehouse, from the warehouse towards the production area, from the production area back to the loading dock, where you then hand over these goods. So that is everything which you do in the internal supply chain. The second part of it is obviously you're the part of a bigger picture, which we describe as the external supply chain. So you have on the one side your customer, and you need to understand the customer demand to do proper demand planning. And on the other side you have your suppliers from whom you source the goods which you need to contribute with your value add in the supply chain. So you use the intercompany capabilities that Business Bydesign brings to the table. And when it comes to the shipping, and I already briefly touched on it during the integration part, you can use, for example, a third-party logistics provider. Many of my fast-growing customers said, why would I want to have a warehouse on my own and organize all of that? I can work with third-party logistics providers who can do this a lot better than I can, but it's fully integrated into my Business Bydesign system so that I have transparency. Last but not least, the key thing about supply chain management is that supply chain management is the other side of the coin on which you will find financials. Supply chain management and financials need to be tightly integrated because everything you do in your supply chain always has a financial impact. If you manufacture something, it has a financial impact. If you revaluate something, it has a financial impact. That is the reason why since the first day, Business Bydesign contained a supply chain management kernel, because the masterminds behind Bydesign said you can't bolt on a supply chain management solution. It is nothing that you can solve with an add-on. You either put it into the solution in the very first second, or otherwise you won't get this linkage between financials and supply chain management. Let me show you one scaring slide. And it's not scaring at all. It is you know that Business Bydesign is a modeled system, and this is basically the look under the covers. So here in the middle, you actually find what I call supply chain management. Here you have the demand planning, you have the production, and it's exactly the same thing that you saw on the other side. Here you have the customer relationship management part, because otherwise the demand planning can't work here in the middle. And over here, you have your supplier relationship management down here, and that is only a little visualization. We have a huge wallpaper which shows you the details of financials, which you have here, and here human capital management. I picked this slide simply to show you that everything that we do with supply chain management is at the center of what we do, and each of these black lines which you see here are available integration scenarios to you, which we deliver out of the box. That much as a short introduction to Business Bydesign and what supply chain management will be able to do for you. Thanks a lot for your attention, and with that I hand over to Stefan Resak for the next unit.